I'm a data geek, and I admit it. I use the phrase talent mechanic on the slide you're looking at, but I know what most people think of those of us who are fascinated by what we can learn from and what we can improve with data. And you already know, if you've watched the prior presentations in this series, that a lot of very serious scientists have made it clear to the world that hiring and promotion decisions made on the basis of facts rather than intuition are better decisions than will be made with intuition. And for facts to be fully useful, they need to be reduced to quantitative data. This video is about examples of what talent management issues you can better understand and better deal with because of data. Here we look at the candidate generation strategies. Why do they matter? They matter because if you do a simple little analysis of where your hires came from, and particularly if you correlate sources to the productivity of your hires, you can find the most fertile sources of people. If you have a good idea of where the fertile sources are, then you know where to go the next time you look for candidates for a similar job. Knowing where to go to find great candidates saves time and money and saves hiring managers interviewing time, because we were able to find more great candidates more quickly, so they interview fewer clunkers. Certain employees stay and certain others turn over. It's likely that you would have information about the profiles of those employees in the hiring data if you use data in the way we've described. You want to know what the long service employees look like at the point of selection. Our hypothetical employees were arrayed across the screen. On the left were the longest tenure employees. On the right were the shortest tenure employees long gone from your employment. Let's look at the top third and the bottom third. The data displayed by the squares are the candidate scores against their job requirements when they were hired. Let's average them. You can see now there are just two lines. So the averages of the top third and the averages of the bottom third. Now we have the profile of what the average employee who does not turn over looks like, and we know what the average employee who does turn over looks like. We can now adjust our selection criteria so that we hire individuals with the same characteristics as those who stay. And of course, this will automatically rule out candidates who have the same characteristics as those who turn over. Every 6 months or so, we can do this analysis again and tune the requirements again. Over time, the new hires will increasingly resemble what the long-tenured employees look like when they were hired. Why does turnover matter financially? Because it's very expensive. Here's a simple cost of turnover calculation. Because it's so simple, it's easy to calculate, but purists will tell you that it's also inaccurate because it leaves out prorated rent of space wasted because the job is open, etc. But if you capture your turnover rate at one point in time and then make some improvements to your recruiting, you might want to look at your turnover for the 6 months following your changes being implemented and compare it to a comparable period of time prior to the changes being made. If your turnover has dropped, you can calculate the run rate of the two costs of turnover and report to your management how much you have saved through improvements to your recruiting. And the costs of turnover are not just financial. Turnover is also a big pain in the neck. The glide slope toward termination is sometimes very unsettling. The departing person may be missed. The new person may have a period in which they and the other employees work toward adjusting to each other. It's hard to put price tags on these events, so I just mention them as soft ammunition you can use to highlight the positive impact of reducing turnover through better recruiting. Everything we said about turnover is true for productivity. Less productivity is expensive and can be embarrassing and disruptive. You want employees who can and do produce. Gather up the scores of the employees got when they were hired, array them high to low on the basis of their productivity, average the top third and the bottom third, hire people who professionally resemble the top third, and avoid people who look like the bottom third average. Recalculate every 6 months, and your new employees will increasingly resemble and probably act like your top performers. With quantification-based performance improvement plan, you can see the improvement, presuming that the person is improving, every time their performance is measured. The measurement exercise does not need to be laborious. You and the hiring manager just need to review the most recent scores and change those where there's been improvement. Now you can have quantified scorecards to demonstrate to your managers that your performance management efforts are worth their cost and their effort. You can also make a financial case, although you will have to have some conversations building consensus about how to value the various elements like more productivity and less scrap. You can perform the same analysis about getting the backups you need trained and ready to go. This time, rather than measuring how well they are doing in their current job, measure how prepared they are for the next job up. Just replace the current job's requirements with the next job up's requirements. When the employee is mostly green because of training and mentoring, they are ready to be promoted. With quantification, you know your succession plan is well stocked with promotable employees and where you still have more development to do. The financial ramifications of talent being ready when you need it versus not being ready are a little elusive regarding assigning a dollar amount to them, but they can be listed when you are conveying the success of your succession efforts to your management. With quantitative performance scores, you can plot pay versus performance to see easily if you are paying for performance or not. The cluster you see on your screen represents your paying for performance. If you saw dots that indicated high pay for low performance, you would know that you had a problem that you needed to go to work on. This can, of course, be done for every job in every department or in the whole department, so long as you have quantitative performance measurements. You can also use the measurements to assess the performance of your recruiters or other HR professionals, and then you can apply the tools we've described to help develop them. So there you have some of the talent management related uses of simple data and simple analysis that deliver profound insights. Thanks very much. I hope that I've given you a glimpse into some techniques that you can use to quantify your talent-related data and how you can use those data to make powerful changes in your organization. I'm John Wentworth. Please feel free to drop me a note or give me a call. As you can imagine, I love talking about this stuff. Thanks so much.